It's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to welcome to our newsroom for tonight headlines. We have the head of state left the country to the Republic of France. U.S. calls for elections in Iraq. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, left the country to Paris, the French capital, where at the invitations of his counterpart, Emmanuel Macron, he will take part from 11 to 13 November 2019 alongside some 30 other heads of state and government from all the continent in the second Paris Peace Forums created in 2018 following the commemorations of the centenary of the armistice of First World War. The Paris Peace Forums is an international forum dedicated to the development of approaches to the increasingly complex issue on the world's agenda as a source of sustainable solutions. Its ambition is to serve as a laboratory of ideas and expertise at the disposal of societies around the world so that they can tackle the major challenges facing them with the serenity, foresight and responsibility. Its interest, the theme of peace and security, the environment of ways and means of creating an inclusive economy is far from being a coincidence. This interest is the brand's desire to lose its energy and creativity in the creations of viable and sustainable solutions to solve the transcontinental problems that challenges today's societies. The President of the Republic has received an emissary of the Comorian President Azali Assoumani in the VIP room of Djibouti International Airport in the middle of the morning, so on Monday before his departure to France. Bearers of a writing message, this emissary of the Comorian President is the Minister of Maritime and Air Transport of his country, Mr. Bianrifi Tarmidi. The relations of friendship cooperation between the two countries and the two peoples were mainly discussed during this hearing. At the end of his talk with President Guelleh, the Comorian minister expressed his country's willingness to work towards strengthening the level of exchanges and collaboration between the two nations. In addition to the Minister of Equipment Transport, Musa Mohamed Ahmed, the Minister of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation, Mohamed Ali Yusuf, took part in this meeting. The Minister of At the end of his talks with the President Guelleh, the Comorian ministers expressed his country's willingness to work toward strengthening the level of exchanges and collaboration between the two nations. Our country, which plans to significantly increase its cooperation and solidarity with the Republic of Djibouti, will continue to work toward the success of its candidacy for the positions of non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council, said the Comorian Minister Tarmidi, then touched on the content of the messages he was carrying. This is an official invitation to the President of Djibouti to take part in the Conference of the Development Partners of the Union of the Comoros, which will take place on 3 December in Paris, he said. For his part, the Minister of Transport, Musa Ahmed Mohamed, has indicated that the essential point was evoked in the discussion between the President and the Comorian Minister. The relation of friendship cooperation between the two countries and the two people were mainly discussed during this hearing. The Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohamed has received on Monday, November 11, Damien Régnard, Senator from French citizens living outside France. Senator Régnard expressed his great satisfaction at meeting the Prime Minister and staying in Djibouti on these days of commemoration on the 1980 armistice signed on 11 November 1980, which ended the fighting in the First World War. The meeting attended by the Ambassador of France to Djibouti, Arnaud Guillois, and the Prime Minister's advisor, Mr. Ali Sillay, provide an opportunity for an exchange of views on the various and bilateral cooperation, given the secular tie on the need to look to the future by strengthening the existing relations of solidarity, sharing community of vision between France and Djibouti, particularly cultural, economic, and military projects. The discussion is also focused on ways and means of promoting trade and prospect of investment by French companies in Djibouti. Budget Minister Abdul Karim Aden Shah welcomed this morning in the ministerial rooms of the Budget Department delegation of American investors on a working visit to Djibouti, the second visit of these investors on national soil, the first contact with the authorities of the countries to be initiated with the Minister of Budget. This group of American investors manage a company specialized in the field of construction agriculture. The minister followed them at length from these American investors for the head of Djiboutian who co-lead with an American, respectively, Mr. Ndirani Asete and Dean Dovis shortly after his extended meeting with the Minister of Budget. This delegation was introduced to the Minister by the Ministers of Budget, Mohammed Ahmed Awale, was also able to follow the skills of these groups of American investors in the field of agriculture, who welcomed the given by the authorities and said they were ready to invest in a short time in Djibouti. The Minister of Labor in charge of Reform Administration, Ismail Ibrahim Roble, has received this morning in his office the United States Ambassador to Djibouti, Mr. Larry Jr. Andre, accompanied by the Director of Human Resources and Embassy, Satish Nair. His Excellency Larry Andre took the opportunity of this meeting to confirm his satisfaction with the excellent cooperation and diplomatic relation between the United States and the Republic of Djibouti. Ambassador reassured the minister that the U.S. government he represents is ready to strengthen cooperation in the field of covered by the Minister of Labor's remit, in particular the integration of young people into the employment and the promotion of national preference in employment. This morning was the opening ceremony of the launch of validation strategy of Institute Diplomatic Studies. This workshop was chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation, represented by Ms. Marie Natalis, and the European Union brought together the director of and representative of the diplomatic academies of IGAD members country. At the head of these meetings was the finalization of a 5-year strategy, which consisted in formulating a 5-year strategic plan as well as a plan for the medium and long-term financial viability of the Foreign Service Institute, which includes the implementation of the organizational structure. It consists of providing training to diplomats and officials of IGAD member states dealing with issues related to economic and regional integrations and high-level diplomacy. The director of the Diplomatic Institute, Musa Megak, said in his opening speech that this conference to build a network of researchers able to feed or guide by their reflections, ideas, the decision of our leaders on any strategic or current regional issue. Mr. Patrick Gessen pointed out that the discussion raised an acute question. Listen, please.
Transfer of the institute into IGAD and into maybe not officially, I'm not sure exactly, into the IGAD structures. And as you said, a co-financing as well from the Ocean Development Agency, ADA, who is, let's say, implementing the whole program. For us, this financing is quite important, and we have several objectives. One is to enhance IGAD conflict early warning and response mechanism, the CWARN, but also for Djibouti, the CWARNU, we also want to enable IGAD and national governments of the region to predict, prevent, and counter transnational security threats.
And finally, Ms. Marie Natalis recalled that in the face of major challenges and opportunities, IGAD has chosen that these diplomatic institutions should play a crucial role in the process of capacity building for diplomats and senior officials working in the field of regional economic integration. Like the Muslim world, the region of Ali Sabih, Dakhil and Arta celebrate the Mawlid and Nabi festivals in an atmosphere of religious fervor. The blessed feast of Mawlid and Nabi, which commemorated the birth of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This feast is celebrated every year on the 12 days of the month of Rabi' Awal in the Muslims' calendars. As usual, religious ceremonies are organized in the different districts of Asajok cities of the United Region and the Altar region. To mark this event, the prefect of the region, Musada Migane, the member of parliament, Abdul Siki Diriye, the president of the annex, the region as well as the Asajok population took part massively at this evening. Kempinski Palace Hotels hosted a workshop on the joint evaluations of the vaccination program between the Ministry of Health and its main technical partners and UNICEF. The closing ceremony was attended by the technical advisor to the Minister of Health, Mr. Abdullah Ahmed Had, the WHO representative, Dr. Ahmed Zutan, and UNICEF representative, Ms. Melva Johnson, and gave representative. Indeed, the joint evaluation work took place from 3 to 7 October 2019 in order to analyze the performance of the vaccination program while identifying key actions that are likely to achieve better vaccination coverage in the countries. As every year, participants discuss ways and means of strengthening the key areas such as improving the data systems, optimizing cold chain preservation, strengthening epidemiological surveillance, and facilitating access to services. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, decorated the Sudanese military attaché Major General Abdul Raziq Mustafa Al-Badawi, Ali Badawi, with the National Orders Officials medals in his office at the General Staff of the Armed Forces on 27 June. During this decoration ceremony, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was assisted by Colonel Yunus Ilmi Waisa, Chief of Staff of the SAMGA, Lieutenant Colonel Nidal Ghalib Muqbil, Head of the First Offices, and Commanders Hassan Yusuf in charge of the ADF Arab Department, Major General Abduraziq Mustafa Ali Badawi, Sudan's military attaché, said he was honored and grateful for the sanctions he received today, particularly from a Chief of the General Staff at the end of his mission in Djibouti, in a view of this unwavering commitment to enhancing military relations between the two countries at the highest level. The Chief of Staff, General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, awarded him these ultimate recognitions. Djibouti's community are making significant progress in the major global forums. A strong Djiboutian delegation composed of the mayor of Djibouti City and president of the Ansimar Fatouma Abdouali Ousmane, is the second vice president and president of Abdurrahman Yunus Are, the Secretary General and President of the White City, Omar Hussein Omar, is currently attending the meetings of the Pan-African Council East Africa at the meetings of the Executive Committee of Africa at its 22 ordinary sessions in Durban on 9 November 2018 to represent East Africa in the major continental body. In the mornings of Monday, November 11, 2019, a strong delegation led by Secretary General of the Secretary of State for Decentralization, Mohamed Issa Faraj, and the Director of Studies and Prospections of the Ministry of Social Affairs, Ms. Muna Ahmed Rage, composed of senior officials of the Ministry of Social Affairs. The decentralization of ADDS traveled to Tajura to take part in the meeting of the Regional Committee of PNSF. It should be noted that the PNSF Regional Committee, chaired by the Deputy and of the Prefect, Mr. Habib Jilani Burhan, the Vice President of the Regional Council, Mr. Abdul Qadir Umar, composed of the Deputy Prefect of Lakasar, Randa, Adailu, and Dura, the representative of Mabla Sector, and the Director of Health Education, the coordinators of social countries, and representative of the Minister. This body is responsible for coordinating transversal activity and monitoring the program. The Secretary General of the Secretary of State for Decentralization, Mohammed Isi Faraj, has indicated discussion is also concerned the next steps regarding extensions of the PNSF in the localities of this region, the preparations of the conduct of beneficiary target missions that will take place in the region from 11 to 26 November 2019. Alexandre Ali Adan Hussein, on the roof of Africa, we have never stopped repeating through our pages that the history of national judo has found its dream. Flag bearer Alexandre Adan Hussein has now established himself as the absolute new master of his category in the Yaoundé African tournament. He has just won the supreme title, the gold medal, by beating Cameroonian Ndonge Ebenezer on his own soils, and is taking a big steps toward participating in the next Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. The Secretary General for Youth and Sport extends his warm congratulations to the Djiboutian protege and reiterate his unwavering support for him to raise the national flag again and again. For the international scene, U.S. calls on Iraq to hold early elections. Listen to Dini Musa.
The United States called on Iraq's government to stop using violence against protesters, reform its electoral system, and hold early elections. After weeks of unrest in which security forces have killed about 300 protesters, Washington wants the Iraqi government to halt the violence against protesters and fulfill President Saleh's promise to pass electoral reform and hold early elections, the White House said in a statement Sunday. In a meeting on Sunday between the country's top leaders, the President and Speaker of Parliament agreed on reforming Iraq's electoral system but made no mention of an early vote. It comes as 4 more deaths and dozens of casualties were reported on Sunday.
In Bolivia, Evo Morales announced that he is resigning. Listen to the report.
After 3 weeks of strong protest in Bolivia against his re-election to a 4th term, President Evo Morales announced his resignation on Sunday, November 10. A wave of protests has shaken the country since his controversial re-election 3 weeks ago. Morales denounced what he described as an illegal police arrest warrant for him. In a Twitter statement, the socialist leader said that his home has been attacked by violent groups. The Bolivian police chief, speaking on television, denied the existence of an arrest warrant for Evo Morales.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.